So I was 22 years old when I left my high-paying job in Dubai, and that was to start my first startup. It was a social networking app which was meant to help you make friends in your neighborhood. But then right after that, 6 months later, I started another startup, which was a platform meant to revolutionize how your goods move from one city to another. Now, as you can guess, I was already a serial entrepreneur by 23. Pretty awesome, right? Well, as long as I can hide the fact that both these startups were absolute utter failures, I can get to call myself that every now and then. Well, you see, even though I didn't initially succeed in any of my initial startup ideas, I have always loved the idea of tech startups. To me, it's clear as day that startups are the only way for new value to be distributed to the masses, and more importantly, technology is the only way to bring new things into existence in the first place. I remember sitting with my friends 11 years ago in my college, and we used to brainstorm and come up with the ideas that we would put on something that looks like this. And it's called the Lean Startup Canvas, which helps you turn your idea into a business model. Now, we would do this a lot, but we would do this for fun. Now, finally, when I started up again in 2018 at the age of 25, we made an AI product, raised a lot of funds. It was meant to be something in agriculture. And we had some of the largest companies in the world as our clients. But man, I have to tell you, it was tough. It was hard to build advanced AI models. It was hard to raise funds. And it was hard to find people who could mentor us and who had done these things before. It was also very expensive. It took us hundreds of thousands of dollars to pay salaries to a large team, to buy very high-performing computing infrastructure, and simply pay office rent, right? But most importantly, it took time. It took a lot of precious time. And that is how things were just a few years ago. I used to seek inspiration from a lot of these entrepreneurs who have shaped our world in very interesting ways. Some of these you already know. Microsoft started by Bill Gates, Facebook started by Mark Zuckerberg, and Dell company started by Michael Dell. All of these people had one thing in common. They all started this company when they were not even 20. And that made them stand out in very interesting ways. In more recent times, we've seen some Indian founders do really well. They're building AI platforms and solutions and are being promoted by a lot of world-class founders and investors, including Sam Altman, who is the man behind ChatGPT. But building a startup doesn't have to be about these grand ideas like Facebook and Microsoft. See, as an entrepreneur, you get to work on your dreams. And you get to work on problems that really matter, real-world problems. You get to work on a variety of projects and build new skills. These are all things that will be valuable forever. It doesn't matter whether your startup succeeds or it fails. And that gave me a lot of courage. I truly believe that the growth curve, if you choose to do a startup early in your life, is exponential. And that's why I think it's a cheat code in some ways that if you start up early, you have an advantage over everyone else. Now, for the first time in human history, building a company is much easier with the help of AI. In simple terms, AI is what gives machines human-like intelligence, right? The world that you see around you has all been shaped by one powerful force, which has been humans and their intelligence. Now, for the first time, when we have machine intelligence, we're going to see this as the second most powerful force that's going to shape our future, and that too in dramatic ways. What I like about AI is that it's something that you can bend to whatever you want. You can basically hire a world-class team of experts. You want a mentor, you've got it. You want a marketer, a designer, a strategist, someone to write things for you. You have all that support from AI. And the best part is that it's almost free. What used to cost $100,000 just a few years ago can be done in barely $100 now. And no wonder a lot of high school students are already using AI to do very, very creative things. And they can do this without necessarily becoming an expert in code or without taking very high-level business courses. As instances, there are people who are creating 2D and 3D games. You can use AI to generate your character, your storyline, your game mechanics, even your scoring system, and then play your own games. I use that a lot. Then someone has made AI influencers a real thing. Now, there is this Spanish model called Aitana who is raking in tens of thousands of dollars every month. And there's an Indian counterpart called Naina who is also doing very interesting things, followed by hundreds of thousands of people. But my favorite use case is for creative people to tell their stories better. AI means a lot for the world of filmmaking. If you go on YouTube and search sci-fi AI movies, you will find these ridiculously good movies that would otherwise cost hundreds of thousands or probably millions of dollars to make that quality of VFX. And you can make that with AI as if it's nothing. Now, why I'm telling you all of this is so that any sort of doubt that you have in your mind, in the last 2 years, things have changed. You don't need to know how to code anymore. You don't need a lot of budget to start up. And most importantly, you don't even need an idea on day one. Now, if I were to tell you that you can literally launch your next startup by tomorrow, would you believe me? Right? So I'm going to show you a quick demo of what's possible. So every startup idea has some things in common, right? Or every startup has some things in common. You need an idea, you need a business model, you need a logo, you need a nice website, and there are other things which are unique from one startup to another. So we're going to create all of these in the next couple of minutes. How I started off is, instead of asking AI to solve it for me, I asked AI to ask me questions. The goal for AI to understand me really well, to understand what my interests are, my skills are, my constraints in terms of time and money are, and I told it that I only have 10 hours every week to dedicate to this startup idea. I gave it that input. I answered all of those questions, and it suggested a list of very cool ideas that are actually possible to launch in literally a day. The ideas that I got were quite a good variety, starting from an AI blog to an AI community, even an AI tools marketplace. Now, I choose AI blog. Let's keep it simple for now, right? And I tell it that the topics that I love are practically TED, technology, startups, and I like to share all of these ideas. And that's why it said I should start something which is an AI trends and AI tutorials blog, which I actually run. So I ask it to give me the next steps of it. Give me step-by-step process of how I can go about launching my blog. I don't know how to launch a website. I don't know what a blog should be designed like. I don't know even if I can write that blog very well. All of these questions can be addressed if you follow these processes step by step. I go one step further. I say, can you draw me a logo? And within a few seconds, just one line, and I have a logo that I can start off tomorrow. Maybe I can improve it later again. I take the things up a little bit, one notch up. I make a complete website for how that blog should look like. And this is what it gives me. But it's a little too plain and simple, right? Not very exciting. So I give it some feedback. I say, make it a bit modern, a bit futuristic, and this is what it gives me. Pretty interesting, right? Do you think this is cool? Awesome. So with this few lines of interaction with AI, we have reached this far. And all of this was done today morning, right? So this is not something I've been working on for weeks and months. And all of this took me not more than 5 minutes to come here. Now imagine if you were to spend the next few hours trying to learn and become a little bit better and how to interact with it, understanding how logos work and what is necessary for your website to rank on Google. I'm sure you can teach yourself those, all of them probably with the help of AI and some YouTube videos. And that brings us to the idea that matters most. I think what we need to acknowledge is that the world we live in is imperfect. We have millions of problems that are still to be solved. We couldn't have solved them before because either we didn't have the right kinds of tools and resources and not necessarily enough capital to solve those problems. There are still roads that need to be safer, air that needs to be breathable, and all the places that education and opportunities needs to still reach out to the furthest corners. So I'm going to ask you these questions. Given that now you have a powerful technology like AI, which enables you to do so much more than ever before, especially as young people with very little experience who are still learning skills, I want you to ask this. How exactly do you want to use it? Are you going to do the same things a little faster, maybe submit your assignments? Or are you going to start dreaming bigger? You're going to solve difficult problems which were simply unimaginable for you before. I truly and sincerely believe this is going to be a golden era for all those people who have a compelling vision, who care about solving real world problems, who have the persistence to make things happen, and most importantly, who care about leaving a dent on the world. Thank you.